Hi, it's Sherry from A Quilting Life, and today I'm going to share a really fast and easy method you can use when putting your binding together. And I'm actually going to show how you can use this ruler to join your strips together and have perfect seams for your binding. Let's go ahead and get started. In the past, I've always joined my binding strips together in this method. I've put them together in a perpendicular arrangement. I've taken a ruler, I've drawn a line, and then I've gone over to my sewing machine and sewn on that line, trimmed, and pressed to start joining my binding strips together. Let me show you how to do it in a much faster and easier way. I'm still going to put the strip at a perpendicular, but I'm going to take my simple mini corners ruler and I'm going to line it up so that I've got a straight line along this edge of the top strip and a straight line there. And where I would have been drawing the line, I've got that dark line, and I'm going to not use a pencil and just cut right there and take this to your sewing machine and sew it together. What I actually do is I actually get a bunch of them ready at the same time so that when I go to my sewing machine, I can just sew them all while I'm over there. So I'm going to get the next one ready. I'm going to stick a pin. And I've got one more strip to add for this small project. One more pin, and I'm going to head over to the sewing machine and sew my 3/4 inch seams. Okay, I sewed those seams together. That's what it looked like before. Seams are sewed. I pressed it open. Now I'm ready to press my binding, fold it in half press. I've already actually pressed some of that. And so I'll go ahead and continue pressing. And I've got beautiful, beautiful seams. I didn't have to use a pencil. And I also didn't have to go back and trim after. So it's a real time saver. And bonus, after you've sewn your binding to your project and you're getting ready to join those ends at the end, just be sure to leave a little bit extra and you can come back to your sewing table and you can actually use the ruler again to join them together. So I hope you enjoyed today's quick quilting tip, and thanks so much for stopping by.